The app we're going to look at today is called Notability. It's used by a lot of kids at Columbine. It's a good note-taking app, and it's also a good app for filling out PDFs and things like that. So I'm going to push Notability here. And I'm not going to go through every single solitary thing, but just starting off here, you can see on the left, those are all various folders that I've made to organize my work. And I suggest that students and anybody who uses it do that, because eventually you're going to have like 150 notes and you're going to want to keep track of them. So the way you make a folder is you click the plus, and then you can add a divider or a subject. For folders, you make a subject. And then it lets you name the subject. So we'll just call this tutorial video. So it's color coded. If you decide that you want to edit that for whatever reason, change the name, change the color, you can actually click edit. And then see, I get all these gear boxes that show up. I can click the gear. And now I can give it its own color, and I can rename it if I want. So see, I've changed it to green. Actually, it looks like there's a lot of green there. I'm running out of colors. All right. So now I'm going to hit done. If I want to, at this point, move stuff into that folder, all I really have to do is hold my finger down on a note, like I'm going to do here with 7th hour, and then just drag it into the proper folder. There we go. So you'll notice that there is now a 1 to the right of tutorial video, and if I click on tutorial video, I can see what's in there. So this is a good handy way to organize all of your notes. I'm going to go back to all notes so you can see them all. On the lower left-hand corner is a gear icon. And this is where you can do a number of different things. We'll touch on auto backup and manage accounts in a second. Very quickly though, you can select themes. I just have the light theme. If you click on document, you can select defaults for certain things, like a default note title. Right now I just have it set up so that it says note and then it has today's date. But I can check and get a default paper color if I want, type of paper like graph paper or whatever, default note view, seamless or single page, rounded corners, etc. For typing, I can change my default font and size and color and that kind of thing. Handwriting, you can see all the different things that you can do there. And I could password protect everything if I wanted to as well. So that's all that. Auto backup and manage accounts is something I'm going to suggest that you should probably set up, and definitely every student should set up, because the problem with Notability is that it saves everything on your iPad. And so that's great if you have your iPad with you, but if you lose your iPad or it gets broken or you need to access something and you don't have the iPad, it's not so good. So what I suggest for everybody to do is set up automatic backup. And the first thing you're going to have to do is actually figure out where you want it to back up to. So for us here at Columbine, it would be Google Drive. So you have to log into Google Drive. It's going to ask if you'll allow it. Make sure you say allow. Okay, so there we go. I'm logged into Google Drive. Now I can go to Auto Backup and turn on Auto Backup by clicking on Google Drive. Click OK. So basically it's going to put all of my stuff in a folder called Notability in my Google Drive. I can select what I want it to back up. Whoops, wrong one. I can select what I want it to back up. Right now I have everything selected. And I can also select a file format that I want it backed up to. So I'm going to back out of here. It is currently backing up as we speak. You can see down in the lower part of the screen, you can see it's backing everything up, and when that circle fills up, everything will be ready to go. So that's the first screen that you see in Notability. What I'm going to do next is show you how to use some of the tools in Notability on a new note. So let's look at a new Notability document. I'm going to go to the upper right-hand corner and click on this little pencil paper icon. And there we are. One of the first things I suggest you do is rename your notes so it's something you can recognize later. So I'm going to call this tutorial video. And there we go. I'm mainly focusing on the stuff in the middle right here. So the T is for typing, so I can basically create a text box and start typing. And just like in any Word document, you can change the color, you can change the size, you can make it bold, you can make it underline, you can change the font. So there we go. And it, like I said, it's fairly intuitive because it works the way most word processing things work. The pencil here is actually a pencil. So see, I can write and draw. And if I click on it, I can change the size of my pencil. I can change the color. And so see, now it looks like this. I can also swipe over and change the type of line I'm making, like so. And the other thing that's kind of cool about this is, I'm going to swipe back. I could draw, say, a circle, and if I hold it down, it'll turn it into a nice perfect circle, and then I can move it around. It works with all sorts of shapes, triangles, squares, etc. So that is the pencil. The highlighter is just what it sounds like. It's a highlighter, and I just kind of highlight whatever. I can do just like with the pencil. I can change the color from this menu. I can change the size of the highlighter over here. And I can even change the type of highlighter, but basically works just like this. It's a highlighter, so if I lift up my finger and then put it down again, it's going to get darker. Up next we have the eraser. The eraser, you can also change the size and go from whole to partial. Partial, we'll go to partial here. Partial just lets me erase a bit at a time. Whole would allow me to actually double tap and see the whole thing will disappear. So that's the difference between whole and partial. The other thing you need to know with the eraser is that it'll erase like drawings and highlights, but see, it's not going to do anything there to that typing. And if you put in like a PDF, the kids can erase what they've written on the PDF, but they can't actually erase the original PDF itself. All right. Next thing is this tool, the lasso tool. So the lasso tool allows you to select an area like so. Then you can move it around, you can convert it, copy, cut, you can see all the different things you can do. One of the cool things that it does let you do is it will convert handwriting to actual text. So let me show you what that looks like. So I'm just going to write my name here. It's actually pretty good. So if I select this, there we are. I'm going to convert to text. You can see it already figured out it's Dave, and then I'm going to hit convert selection. And there we go. Now we have typing, and I can resize it and do whatever. So this might be useful for students who you have trying to handwrite answers in on a PDF, and then you can't read anything they wrote. The little thumb or the finger here just lets you kind of rotate and move around. And then this is kind of a laser pointer thingy. So that's those tools. Now let's look at this microphone. I'm going to move down a little bit. The microphone lets you record, and while you're recording, it matches up the recording with whatever's happening in Notability. So this is kind of cool because, you know, I could demonstrate how to do something. For instance, let me start a recording here. I could say, well, 2 plus 2 equals 4 because you have 2 items, and then you add another 2 items. 1, 2, 3, 4. That gives you 4 items. Okay, so I just made a recording of that. Now when I play back the recording, and you can see you can skip ahead, change the speed, do whatever. But when I play back the recording, as it's speaking, it will show the various parts. So you can see kind of as it goes along.
4 because you have 2 items, and then you add another 2 items.
There it goes.
1, 2, 3, 4. That gives you
voila.
4 items.
The last little bit that I want to show you in Notability is these 3 tools on the right. If I go to the far right just very quickly, this just kind of changes my view, but it's kind of nice because I can navigate between pages very easily. So if I've got a large document, I can navigate between them. Anytime you see 3 dots, it's a menu. So see, I can delete the page, clear the page, copy it, etc., etc. These 3 dots right here are, guess what? It's a menu. And I can from here change like the look of my paper. So I'm not stuck with whatever I defaulted to. I can change the look of my paper from here to something that I'd rather have. And same thing, I can also make it into graph paper and whatever. And then the view basically will just let you change from seamless, which is where it's just basically all one thing, and if I want to scroll I got to move up and down, to single page, which means you can move left or right to view each page. So I'm going to go back to seamless because I like it better that way. The plus is where you add different things. So you can add photos from your photo library. You could take a picture with your camera. You can document scan, which is kind of cool. I would basically use the camera on the iPad to take a picture of a document, and then it'll turn it into a PDF within the Notability document, and then I can write on it and do whatever. I can get a GIF. They've got all sorts of searches you can do and just get whatever, and then move it in. I can also, let me back up here, I can get a web clip and a sticky note. Sticky note just basically throws a sticky note in there that you can write on. A web clip lets you take the text of a web page and put it into your document. So I'll demonstrate that here. We are going to go to Safari. It's actually kind of cool. So let's just go to Wikipedia. Don't ever use Wikipedia, but I know it's really going to be easy to do for this video. So I would click the up arrow, and I'm going to just move that to Notability. Then it thinks a little bit. I'm going to add it to tutorial video because that's the current note I'm working on. Import. It says one file sent to Notability, and now if I go back to Notability, there it is. So it's not going to show animated stuff. You can't take a YouTube video and plop it into your Notability document, but it will let you take the text from the website. So there we go. So that's those three things. Like I said, students should hopefully know how to use this. And just backing up really quick, if you hit edit, this is also where you could go to, say, delete stuff, because if I clicked on 7th hour, clicked on the trash can, now that's gone. So that's how you would delete things. And let's go back here. When a student is done and they want to turn it in, they would have to click this up arrow, and then they would point it to their Google Drive or Apple Classroom, not Apple Classroom, Google Classroom, or whatever it is that they're trying to turn it into. So I don't have Google Classroom on this iPad, so I can't really show you how to do it. Anyways, that's Notability. If you have any questions or would like me to come into your class to demonstrate this for your kids, just let me know.